What's going on YouTube? My name's Anton,
And I'm Tom Boone, and I'm new to the channel. This is my first video.
and today we're just talking Game of Thrones. So this is going to be a little bit of an experiment kind of video. This is kind of a preview of next week's, kind of a review of this week's, just a general discussion. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you want us to talk about, so that way next week we can include some comments and questions from you guys.
Yeah, I agree. It's two huge fans talking about a show that we love and questions that we have and questions that other people have that we want answered.
So stay tuned and enjoy.
On the damp old stones spun away all her sorrow and pain, and she never.
What did you feel about Varys poisoning Daenerys? Did you agree with him trying to? Because there's a lot of fans out there that say that he wasn't. He was not trying to poison her.
You know what? I do think he was, and actually, I honestly did not even catch that at first. I should have, and I kicked myself for not actually catching it the first time. But it was a total Varys move. I mean, she wasn't eating, and having his little bird from the kitchen, she was nervous, and the soldiers are watching her. And it only makes sense that he was trying to have her poisoned.
Yeah.
He even referenced it to Tyrion that that look that he gave him, that he was going to have to get rid of her.
Right, and I feel like that line that he told his little bird. What was it? He said, "The greater the reward, or the greater the risk, the greater the reward." I thought that confirmed that that's what that was going on right there.
Yeah.
But I just feel like they completely abandoned Varys' storyline from after like season 4, because he just did that so sloppily to me. It seems like he kind of gave up and was like, this is my last act. Because he went through all those other kings. I mean, he dealt with the Mad King, he dealt with Joffrey, and he was plotting the entire time with Robert. All of the whole time he was plotting, and he never got caught. And it just seemed very, forced. I was talking to my wife, and I was telling her, I really believe that they should have made this Varys' death should have been at the end of an episode. He was too big of a character to just kill off at the beginning of the episode like it was nothing.
Yeah, and Dany seemed like she was on like a high dose of Xanax when she said Dracarys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it could have been like the calm before the storm or something. But it almost seemed like they dumbed down Varys and Tyrion.
Tyrion a lot, yeah.
Oh my gosh, man! He was such a prominent character, and Varys too. But Tyrion was he was one of the main characters, even above Varys.
Yeah.
And his role just seemed so diminished in his lines, and giving him the eunuch jokes and just taking away his intelligence, just diminished his character so much, man.
They butchered him. I feel like they killed Barristan Selmy and gave him his role.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there.
Okay, so for me, the best scene of the show was the Arya and Hound interaction. That's one storyline I feel like they finally closed, and they closed right.
Yeah. Well, before I go right into that, I will say that one of my other favorite scenes was Tyrion and Jaime's goodbye. I loved that scene. It was it was written very well, and it was very moving and touching, and I did love that. But moving on to Arya and Sandor, yes, I love that too. They truly have developed an unspoken bond, and I do believe that the Hound loved her, and she might be the only person that he's ever actually loved.
Yeah. Well, I think her and Sansa, because I do think he had some feelings for Sansa at the beginning. I don't know if it was as big as love, but they clearly closed that storyline in episode 3 as well. And those were clearly the two people that he cared about the most in the world. So
yeah, he did care for the Stark girls. I think that he did. I think he did have a little bit of love for her. He did try to protect Sansa too. But he also, I do think that he truly loved Arya more than anyone else, and he grew to be sort of a father figure to her since Ned had passed, and he did teach her quite a bit, you know. And even though he was rough and mean and cruel, she did grow to love him too, and when she called him Sandor, and that spoke volumes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like her saying that she loved him without actually saying it.
Right, because people had called him Sandor throughout the series, but Arya had never.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think about the horse that Arya rode off on?
Yeah, I do think that, like you said earlier, I do think Bran did warg that. I do think there's some deeper meaning to that, and I did see that little girl holding that horse, and I haven't quite put that together. I do think Bran did warg it, and there may not be any deeper meaning than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that could be all there is to it.
So with Sansa, I've never really liked Sansa, but that's one of the characters that I've really liked the development for of this season. I didn't like how she just ratted out Jon, but it made sense. It made perfect sense for her. She had all of that to gain. I am kind of believing that she's the one who's been given Cersei information.
Yeah, I thought so too. It seemed like too much of a coincidence for Euron to just be there at just the right time, and that's not the first time it happened, you know, but it just seemed too coincidental. But Sansa, I didn't care for her either, but her development has been a really great storyline as well, and she really is the smartest player left in the game at this point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, she's learned from everybody.
Yeah, and when Dany came to Winterfell, she rightfully was leery of her, and she did learn from Baelish to look at everybody as a friend, look at everybody as an enemy, and I do think that she was working behind the scenes to possibly prepare for what could happen, you know. We seen her talking with Lord Royce a few times, and you know, she could possibly rally what's left of the North, and if Edmure's in River Run, the Vale, it's hard to say, like we said earlier, what damage Varys did with his messages to, you know, he sent out messages to most of the kingdom. So, and Sansa, I'm sure she talked to him a few times through messages. So she probably picked it up from there. And Dany clearly said she knows that the Seven Kingdoms have more love for Jon than her by far. So Sansa's probably getting some preparations made, I'm sure, behind the scenes here.
Yeah, all I could think of is Littlefinger and the influence that he's had on her. You know, I've been talking to some fans lately, and they were saying that, you know, Sansa is only wanting to do good, and I disagree with that completely. Now, don't get me wrong. I think what she's doing in the interest of her own people, but she's also manipulating and playing the game. She's doing exactly what Littlefinger did. She's taking the chaos and she's using it as a ladder. Yeah,
I do see Littlefinger and Cersei both in her. And I don't think it's completely for evil purposes. I do think, like you just said, that it is, some of it is for good, but she's using the skills she learned from people that were evil, you know?
And I'm not gonna, by any means, I'm not gonna say that what she did is the reason. Like, she's not to blame for those murders in King's Landing, but she did play a big part in it. And
right.
I even go back to the Battle of the Bastards. I hated the way she handled that because I feel like all those people that died leading up to the veil coming could have been avoided because she could have just said something about the veil, but she held on to that information for personal reasons.
She did, and that was messed up, man. It really was. And all she had to do was tell Jon, you know, and that could have saved a lot of lives right there. I mean, Jon nearly was crushed to death right there,
right?
Until they rode in and saved him, and that gave Baelish, made him look like he was the savior, you know, even. Yeah. And something else that bothered me about the Battle of the Bastards, why didn't they give one a great big tree stump or something to start swinging around?
The Night King does know how to arm his giants a little bit better than Jon.
Yeah.
But I just think that was just completely a selfish reason, though, because she's even, I remember parts of that where she's literally having conversations with Jon saying, we need to attack when we have more men, and he's like, no, we need to do it now. Literally, she has a whole another army, she's just not telling them about it.
Yeah, and they were cavalry, you know?
Yeah.
And they literally mowed down Ramsay's forces, so that's exactly what they needed at the time, even, you know.
Yeah. What about next week's episode? What do you think?
Well, I'm very interested to see what Dany's going to be doing here, and I'm very curious to see exactly what Bran's role is going to be as the Three-Eyed Raven. I mean, what is he going to do? I mean, it doesn't seem like he had anything to do with this episode at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's if Bran doesn't have anything to do in this episode, I'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, it seemed, I mean, it'll be a complete waste of a Three-Eyed Raven, man. Someone that can see everything, supposedly, to not have a big role in what's going on. Yeah. And, you know, they're going to have to focus on, I mean, the major characters that are left, Jon, Dany, Arya, Sansa, and Bran. I mean, those are the main characters left, you know.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that Jon is it's going to really be focused on Jon's problem with Dany here, and of course Tyrion. He might actually be put on trial.
I'm really concerned with Tyrion's fate right now because I just don't see. I feel like if Jon doesn't kill Dany before, Tyrion's a goner.
Yeah, and you know what? Something I've thought about, if that's the case, then it's quite possible that the line of Lannisters will end, which could also be part of the bittersweet ending, unless there's some cousins left. You know what I mean?
I actually had a theory about this. I believe that only if they kill Tyrion off. So if Tyrion doesn't die, I don't think this happens. But I think if they do kill Tyrion off, they will reveal to us that Brienne was pregnant, and they'll make that a legitimate.
I just wrote that to someone on Facebook yesterday. I just did, and I actually believe that's quite possible too. And I love that theory because of the line of Brienne that George Martin said that she is a descendant from Sir Duncan the Tall. So that kid would probably be a super soldier, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope they have some like game-changing information, but I just don't see it at this point. So I really don't see what they can do with Bran. I
haven't really looked a lot about they didn't give us much in the series finale trailer to go on. So except for it looks like Dany's coming out to give a big speech, and the soldiers, the thousands of Dothraki that seem to come from nowhere are going crazy, and the Unsullied. But yeah, I think Dany's gonna have to die.
Something that really scares me is Arya's fate, because there was a scene in last week's episode where they cut to her and she's laying there and it looks like she's dead. And for a minute I freaked out, because the first line of the books is her something about her clutching needle in her frozen dead hands. Yes. So when I seen that, I completely lost it. I thought that's what it would be. But something that scares me is it definitely looks like Arya is on a kill mission for Daenerys. Right. So
yeah, I think I'm wondering if her and Jon may end up having to fight their way through. You know what I mean? Through a lot of people. And Arya does have the skill. I think she might be the most dangerous warrior left in the entire Seven Kingdoms at this point.
Most definitely.
And even above Jon, which if he does end up stabbing Dany with or running Dany through with Longclaw, he could end up fulfilling the Azor Ahai prophecy, and then he could literally become Azor Ahai and take out the entire rest of the forces of Dany's army. But basically with him and Arya, which would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm a little scared that Arya might try to attempt to kill Daenerys and she gets burnt.
I love Arya. I do not want to see her die.
No.
If she dies, man, that I will lose it.
But what other way to truly show that Daenerys has lost her mind? Like, that would be a way to completely... Any people that were on Daenerys' side, that they just... that would have wiped them away. And I hate to see that. I don't want to see that. But if that were to happen, she would probably be clutching needle in the process.
Something else... Now the Dothraki always follow... they follow power above everything else, right?
Yeah.
Now, who is more powerful than someone killing the Night King?
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is possible that if someone, Jon or Arya, kills Dany in a more private setting, that Arya could take her face, even. You know.
I was thinking that too, and just lead them all back over to Essos and then just come back.
Right. I really thought that the Dothraki were finished, and there wouldn't even be an issue to deal with.
Yeah.
But,
so did you see the foreshadowing, though, between Jon and Grey Worm? I think we're going to get a battle between Jon and Grey Worm next week.
I did. I think there's going to be a fight there for sure.
Because when we first seen it, when he came in to speak to Daenerys back at Dragonstone, I noticed the way he looked
at him. Yeah. Dany totally said that he betrayed her. Yeah. And the way he looked at Jon then, and when they were fighting in King's Landing.
Yeah, they had a moment where he stopped and looked back.
Yep.
So that should definitely be interesting. I can't wait to see. That's going to be hard for me because I actually liked Grey Worm, but like I said, it's easier from last week, but it's still just... I'm anxious to see what Daenerys has to say for herself, to be honest. Like, what does she have to say? Why did she do this? Now, she could just say, look, I was just making it to where no one ever tried to betray me again or to threaten me again. That was just a fear. I'm going to scare the bejesus out of everybody so they never try anything. But that's the only thing that makes sense to me in why she did that.
Yeah, she could still stick with what she said, where about crushing all the tyrants and no one ever having to do that again. But the way she did that was just wrong, and she's just got to go.
Yeah,
it's just that. It's a karma thing, even, man. You just can't kill that many children and live. You know what I mean? It's just wrong.
Okay, last thing here, and then we'll wrap it up. Do you think Bran knew all of this was going to happen? A part of me believes that Bran is kind of leading her into this, because I've always said, like, why did Bran not say anything about them getting ambushed when Rhaegal died? Why has he not warned anybody? We clearly seen he had this vision of Drogon flying over King's Landing, and he actually had that vision right after he's had a vision about the Mad King. So that was a little interesting theory right there, but does he know what's happening, and does he know this is the only way, and he's just letting it happen?
Yeah, I agree that I have wondered that too. I did see a quote from Isaac Hempstead Wright, I believe that's his name, where he said that Bran's character, or his character, doesn't really know the future like we think he does. He can get glimpses of it, but like during the battle with the Night King, when he was warging, he was watching with those birds the whole time, the fight. That's what was going on.
Wow.
But he can only see little bits of the future. He can, like, they said it's kind of like him doing a Google search, basically.
Well, I mean, I kind of figured that to some extent, but I've also kind of thought, like, he's showed how much his power... It's kind of like they hit a pause button on his power development, because, like, back in season, I think it was 5, where he completely warged into Hodor in the past.
Yeah.
Like, but now all he's doing is warging into ravens. One thing that I really irritated me about is during that battle with the Night King, I was almost positive he was warging into Nymeria and bringing the wolf pack.
Yeah,
like, to
I was
help or
expecting
something.
that too.
Something. What was the point of showing Nymeria back in season 7? I don't understand that.
I think that was just fan service.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I think it was just fan service, and honestly, it was just to tie up a loose end, which also with Edmure, it's like Arya was in the Twins, and did she let Edmure go from the cells?
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever know.
I mean, you would think that she would. I mean, she's still a Stark.
Yeah, you would think she would, but they just never seem to let us know anything.
Yeah, there was a little bit too much taking place off camera, in my opinion, in this season.
Yeah, it is kind of a mystery how much Bran knows. Still, even, but I think we'll find out in this next episode. I'm very curious to find out, and this show. I will say this about the show. I know we love it. It has been dissected more than any other show in history, and broken down, and so these last 2 seasons, they have been rushed, and this is all we're gonna get. The way it's coming is all we're gonna get, so we might as well just try to enjoy what we get, and hopefully when we get the books, George does us right, and I'm counting on it. I'm sure you are too.
I know he's talked about it, but a part of me is a little bit scared that he's going to change the ending after seeing how the fans reacted. Like, I know he's came out and said he's definitely not going to do that, but I definitely believe that Dany going mad is part of his part of his books. Like,
I think so too, but when he said that he was going to spend, he wished they would have taken more time with the show, I think he's going to develop these things more, and it'll seem like it fits a lot better. You know what I'm on, if that's the way it goes down, you know?
Right, yeah. I'm a firm believer that they should have done one season, and even if they were shortened like these ones, they should have did one season with the Night King and Dany starting to go mad. And then the next season should have been the wrap-up with King's Landing and the full transition into the Mad Queen.
That's exactly, I think I said that earlier even, and I totally agree with you. They should have, they should have done that. They should have definitely spent the entire time doing that. It would have made it so much better, and we would have enjoyed it, and I just think it would have been much better for the fans. I just do. I think we deserved a little better. There was a few times that I was very disappointed, and I said I would wait until we got the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
And we're up to season 5, and I've reserved judgment, and I did like the fact that it was a surprise to me, and we did have some hints that Dany was going to go mad, but I really thought up until the last moment that she would choose the right thing. I did like that she went mad because I wasn't really expecting it.
Right.
But, they just should have spent more time, like you said, developing all this. And the whole Night King thing, man, that just should have been a whole season.
Well, I'm pretty disappointed with that because I don't know if you've heard the reports, but it's basically been confirmed that that was just a money kind of stunt, and they're saving all of that information to get people to come to the prequel series. I think they just released the name. I thought it was The Long Night, but there's reports saying it's going to be Blood Moon or Blood. I think it's Blood Moon. Believe. But what do you think about that? Do you think that's going to be it's going to make the prequel better, or is it just a cheap stunt that they're just trying to drag this out?
Well, I honestly hope not. I mean, I know I would.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this podcast / review. Thank you all for staying tuned and showing us your support by sticking with us and watching this video. There are a lot of growing pains in a new channel, and we are no different. We are experiencing them just like anyone else, but we are striving to get better with every video. So, again, just thank you for all of your support. And
I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. I'm sure. I'm glad Dan and Dave's not gonna be doing it. I think different people will be more excited and more motivated now.
Well, George R.R. Martin's going to be a big part of it too, as well. So,
yeah. Hopefully he still is focusing on the books, and I really hope that he wins a winner out. I know his age he's getting up there really quickly, and I hate to sound selfish, but I truly don't want him to go before he finishes Dream of Spring.
Yeah, that's kind of been my concern because I think Winds of Winter is actually done. It's just he's waiting for the show to end before he releases it. But beyond that, he's got so many other things going on. It kind of seems like he's stopped focusing on that. He's got some shows coming out on Sci-Fi. He's got the prequels in progress right now. They actually just started filming those. So I hope he's able to finish it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and he even has aspirations for doing some more Tales of Dunk and Egg novels. So, and have you read those?
No, not yet.
And we both love the show and the books, so we will get better. And Anton is the lead here, and he will be doing most of the stuff, but I will be doing a lot of behind the scenes work trying to get subscribers. And if you do watch a video, please make sure you smash that like button and please support us. And we appreciate it.